Hello YouTube, I have for you today my review on We Were Liars by Lockhart. I've been told that it's best to go into this book without sort of knowing much about the storyline before you start. So if you haven't read it, do read it. Go into it without knowing very much about the novel. If you haven't read this book, please turn away now and go and have a read of it and then come back and see what I think. It's a contemporary novel set on this private island belonging to the Sinclair family, just off the coast of America. So you have this very well-off, rich family that seem to have lots of secrets about them, and there's lots of potential for misleading and quite a variety of different possibilities as to what these secrets can be. The main character is called Cadence, and she and some of her cousins and one of her cousin's friends form this sort of group of liars in the summers that they go to this private island. It's a story really about family and about the fractures of family and about inheritance. I didn't like this whole aspect of the rich kids. That sort of put me off a little bit from the start. I did quite like the sort of setting of it, and I loved Lockhart's use of language in it. It's almost prose poetry at points, and I love the ability to manipulate sentences and sort of change them into your will and not follow the standard guidelines of what you would expect to have in sentences. So that was something that I really enjoyed about this novel. What I didn't like, as I've mentioned, was this rich kid's attitude, this idea that, you know, everything comes on a plate, although that seems to be a little bit disputed within the novel. Cadence sort of forgets what happens in one of these summers, and they go back to this island a few years later after she's had some memory loss to try and sort of reconnect and realise what she's forgotten and what she's trying to remember about this place. She and her group of 3 other cousins and cousins' friends, they all sort of go about and almost sort of do this detectiving, I don't think that's a word. They sort of go about the island and try and find out what went on 2 summers ago when she ended up in hospital with this memory loss. So it is quite an interesting story from that premise. The ending was unexpected. The ending did make me cry, which is one of the redeeming features about this novel. I found the ending to be a bit sort of Handmaid's Tale-esque, which I know it's not quite like that, but that sort of revealing of what happened reminded me a bit of The Handmaid's Tale within this novel. I enjoyed it. It wasn't great. I was expecting a lot more from it, from all of the hype that BookTube has been happening around it, so that sort of put me off a little bit. I'd probably give this about 6 pasties out of 10, about 3.5 stars in Goodreads, because it was alright. I enjoyed the language, I enjoyed the way it was written, but in the end the characters were a bit cringy for me. They weren't as effective and as enjoyable as I had hoped from this novel. Yeah, I will try and have a look at some of Lockhart's other works, because as I mentioned, I did enjoy the use of language, so I hope that will sort of be more prevalent in some of her other works and not have so much focus on this contemporary rich kids sort of lifestyle. If you've read this book, which I'm sure lots of you have, please write your comments about it in the bit below, whether or not you loved it, or if you hated it, or if you're like me and a bit sort of, well, you liked the ending but didn't really like the characters very much. I'd love to hear what you think of it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and you can follow me on Twitter with @NotAnotherLaura. I'll be back with you soon for some more book reviews.